Next question. Recently, Bray, in terms of balancing the budget, has reorganized departments and reassigned responsibilities, and in that there's certainly been a number of raises that have been provided to senior staff. What's your position on that? And then as a follow-on question, that there's been a recent pattern of hiring back high-pensioned executives at additional cost to the city versus assigning the projects to current staff. Certain projects, as you're aware of, Chief Messina, Assistant Manager Matz, and others hired back on projects while they're collecting their well-deserved retirement pension.
The infamous reorganization. Look, it's simple. We reorganized our senior management staff, and just to make it simple, let's say that the cost of our senior management staff was $1 million, and now with the reorg, it's $800,000. So it's a net savings. It's a net savings to Bray taxpayers. Now, I know many of you are upset that some of these specific individual senior management staff in that process of reorganization, even though it's a net savings to the city and the city taxpayers, got a raise. The argument to that is, well, they have more work, so they need to be paid more. The counter argument to that, Tom, is we're all working harder for less. I think that is something that might need to be looked into. But as far as the reorganization, it's a general net savings to Bray taxpayers, and I think that's always a plus.
And the hiring back of staff on contract basis, address that?
Yes, that does sometimes doesn't pass the smell test, as they say in the Supreme Court. However, you know, for example, bringing Terry Matz back to have a look at the fire proposal, that was the best option by far. He was so involved in the project and the proposal that it just made absolute perfect sense to bring him back and have him go through the proposals and you know, create the report for city council staff.
Next question is kind of more of a pet peeve, but it's principle. The use of funds to create this iPhone city parking app was unveiled at the recent council meeting. First was reported to cost somewhere around $6,000. Later reports, some believe it's around $10,000, and subsequently some have discovered that probably didn't factor in actual staff time into getting that app together. Now, I ride my bike to Bird Street, so I don't have a parking.
I walk.
That's right. But so, do you believe staff reports and press releases to be generally accurate and complete as received?
You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not on the city council at this moment where I've been sort of misled by staff members, and so I'm going to take them at their word until I see otherwise.
Some residents that speak during matters from the audience have recently felt ignored or slighted or dismissed. Some even have felt insulted by some of the responses that have come from the city manager. If elected, what would be your direction, or what action would you take to remedy this situation?
Professionalism at all times. We're all adults here. That would be number one. Number two, I see the city council meetings as an important forum for our city. Important questions are raised. Important issues are brought to the city council during those meetings. It's sort of a focal point for our community. Now, there are certain legal restrictions that don't allow city council members to directly respond to issues brought up in public comment because of the Brown Act, and we all at least heard about that. But I think in this important public forum and in this important focal point for our community, issues that are brought up in public comment need to be addressed by the city manager in a professional manner.
Some of us have the opportunity to visit the public portions of the council study sessions, and understanding that a lot of work actually gets done there before business actually even gets to the council floor. What's your position on the possibility of televising or providing on a delayed video that open portion of the council study session?
I don't have a problem with that.
We found that often when a new business decides to come into our community, and we certainly welcome them to come, sometimes those businesses donate money to the city as a part of their entry into the community, and oftentimes those donations are passed on to a few favored programs. Do you have any suggestions on how donations such as that be directed so that they might be better spread to the many worthy not-for-profit and other organizations throughout the city?
Well, Tom, I think the answer to that question is in the question. You know, spread the wealth, you know, to the whole community. If it is the case that contributions from companies entering the city are just giving it to the few, well, so like I said, spread the wealth.
I've not personally been really engaged in this hot topic of the whole fire services thing, but the question here is, last week a council member has, I'm going to read this verbatim, has condemned other candidates for being interviewed at the OCFA offices. As you were interviewed there, did this create a conflict of interest, or do you agree with that response?
I did find that interesting. I was, as a city council candidate, I was going to an interview for the Brea Firefighters Association, and it was at the Orange County Fire Authority Union headquarters. And when I was interviewed, there were 2 Brea Union firefighters interviewing me, but there were also 2 OCFA union members, and I found that interesting. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, that concludes the 17 questions. Number 18, really, maybe give you 2 minutes to kind of wrap up some final words before we...
let's do the informal things.
Okay, before the wrap. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so let's go to the audience. So I've got to see hands coming up everywhere. So let me start with Keith.
I don't get to choose.
I'm just no, I get to choose. Let me start with Keith, and then we'll kind of go around clockwise.
You can repeat it.
Yeah. So Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just am curious. Have you personally ever made a public records request to the city of Brea? If you have, were you satisfied with the response? If you have not, and you knew someone who had, and they had met considerable challenges along the way to get a timely response, as a councilman, what action would you feel necessary to take to assure this not reoccurring?
Okay, so let me see if I can summarize that, Keith. Keith's question addresses a customer service issue in the area of requesting public records. And have you requested those, or do you know the challenges that citizens face in requesting public records?
You know, it's all about 100% customer service satisfaction, okay? If someone makes a public documents request, they should get their documents. I personally have not made a public records request. I do know someone that has, and he got his documents without a problem.
Okay, Lori?
Brett, you said that as a board of directors, you know, you're directing staff, but then later you said that when it comes to staff reports, you're going to take them at their word. So, you know, as a council member, do you feel any obligation to do any sort of independent research when it comes to decisions before you?
Yeah, so this is a restatement of kind of an earlier question regarding independent research versus the accepting staff reports as they come to you.
Lori, thank you very much for following up on that. You're absolutely right. I sort of maybe read into that question as, you know, do I think that the staff members, or am I worried that the staff members of the city of Brea are going to sort of mislead me or feed me lies or, you know, all that sort of stuff? Absolutely not. On the other hand, I appreciate you bringing this up. Absolutely, I will be doing independent research. You know, I have friends that are in other local city governments. I have friends that aren't within the staff that live in Brea that I bounce ideas and I have questions. In my campaign, I have, you know, 4 or 5 or 6 advisors that I speak to on a regular basis when I have questions. And quite frankly, that team of advisors, they don't agree. And I appreciate that I get information from this side, and I get information from this side, and that side, and that side. And I like being in the middle, because that makes sure, that guarantees that I have an informed decision from all sides of an issue.